Imagine a place where a volcano rises out of the mist, where condors circle silently above your head, and where steam drifts from hidden springs. This is Puracé National Park, wild, raw, and breathtaking. A place still untouched by mass tourism. The closest city with an airport to Puracé is Popayán. It is the perfect starting point for Puracé, just an hour drive from the park. As it is not on usual tourist radar, accommodations here are very cheap and you can book a hotel which looks like a medieval palace for just 30 euro per room. After a great dinner and proper sleep, we were prepared to again reach altitude above 3,500 meters. Google Maps guided us safely all the way to the park gate, and by then we already knew the trip was going to be worth. At the park gate, there is a wooden barrier which marks the official entrance. Here you pay the fee and meet your guide. It is mandatory to protect the area. The guides in Puracé National Park come from the Pueblo Yanacona community, which are the people who have lived here for generations. Keep in mind that most of the guides do not speak English. If you do not speak Spanish, it is best to download an offline translation app before you arrive. There is no signal inside the park and clear communication with your guide is essential. Inside Puracé there are no paved roads anymore. The track turns to dust and holes, and we were grateful to have an SUV. The road climbs in endless switchbacks, higher and higher into the Andes, until the clouds sink low enough to touch the ground. The landscape feels harsher, yet at the same time strangely magical. After about 20 minutes of climbing, we reach a place called Mirador del Condor. We pull over at the roadside and follow a short, easy path that leads to the cliffs. This is where condors are often seen. We wait quietly, hoping that luck will be on our side. As soon as we reach the cliffs, the first shadows appeared in the sky. One after another, condors began to circle above us. Their enormous wings stretched wide, moving with a grace that was both silent and powerful. Watching them so close was unforgettable. These birds can reach a wingspan of more than 3 meters, making them some of the largest flying creatures in the world. They landed on rocky ledges, shook their feathers, and without fear allowed us to admire their strength and their beauty. First, our guide pointed out the cliffs where condors often build their nests, and he explained how years of protection have allowed them to return to these heights. Then, he told us that the condor is a sacred symbol of the Andean people, and its presence here is never something to take for granted. Puracé National Park hides a remarkable treasure known as the Sendero Termales de San Juan. The trail begins at the main road, right beside the visitor center. Here an employee explained that bathing in the springs is forbidden, and he warns that it is not recommended to stay too long. The sulfur fumes are strong, and spending too much time in the area could be harmful. After about 10 minutes of walking, we arrived at what felt like the entrance to another world. The smell of sulfur had grown so strong that Kiara began to protest. She could not stand the odor, so we decided to split up. The children stayed behind in the forest while we continued the path deeper into the geothermal landscape. This circular trail leads through a landscape filled with sulfur springs, active geysers, colorful rivers, and rare mountain flora. Walking here is not just a hike, it feels like stepping into the very heart of a volcanic world. We crossed a wooden bridge over a stream the color of pale blue milk. Steam rose from its surface, the ground hissed and bubbled, the earth was alive. We thought nothing could surprise us after Iceland. We were wrong. Here, the landscape felt even more raw. Cracks in the ground exhaled hot air. Pools of water shimmered in the impossible shades of white and turquoise. Moss and ferns clung to the rocks, thriving in the heat. Everywhere, the land paused. It wasn't just scenery, it was energy. We walked slowly, carefully over slippery stones and wooden walkways. The air was heavy with sulfur, sharp in the lungs. The entire path lies at an altitude of about 3,400 meters. That height brings not only extraordinary geothermal wonders, but also sweeping views and the crisp atmosphere of the high ends. Even though the weather was far from kind, and even though we had raincoats, we ended up soaked to the bone and chilled to the core. Still, every moment here was unforgettable. Beyond the largest thermal vents, the trail curves to the right in begins a gentle climb. At first glance, the path seems ordinary, but there is a quiet kind of magic hidden here. Step by step, the green fades away. On both sides, dense vegetation gives way to a black and white stone path that feels almost surreal. The rocky section of the trail is a sign that we are getting close. Soon we will reach the Mirador, where the effort of the climb will be rewarded. By now, we had stopped thinking about the rain or the cold. We just kept going, step by step. At the highest point, a viewpoint opened over the entire geothermal field. Rivers of different colors snaked through black volcanic rock, framed by green vegetation. It looked like another planet. We stood there in silence, watching steam rise into the sky, knowing we were in one of the most extraordinary places in Colombia. From the Mirador, the trail leads gently downhill along the opposite side of the slope, forming a loop that reconnects with the main path. This stretch is more open and offers panoramic views almost constantly on the right. The trail looped back through ferns taller than our waists, swaying gently in the wind. Every step felt like walking through a living, breathing world. Like other geothermal areas, this place is missing the usual reds and yellows. That absence is exactly what makes it so unique. It reminded us strongly of Boiling Lake on the island of Dominica. As we walk, we pass smaller vents and springs we hadn't noticed before. Some release quick steam, others bubble with force. Be extra careful to not step off the trail here. The ground can be unstable or dangerously hot. Puracé is not an easy place. The roads are rough. The weather changes in minutes and the altitude tests your body. But it's also one of the most beautiful places we have seen in Colombia. It's raw, it's alive, and it stays with you long after you leave. During our 5-week journey across Colombia, we knew we could not miss Puracé National Park and its volcanoes. The photos had looked inviting, but the reality surpassed every expectation. If you have ever hiked in Iceland or seen something that felt just as surreal, share it in the comments. And if this place surprised you as much as it did us, feel free to tap the like button. It helps us more than you think.